And welcome everyone to Beyond the Forecast. I am Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens, and I am currently out on the balcony where things are slowly starting to dry out. We saw about 1.5 inches of rain here in Traverse City, and many areas across northern Michigan have seen anywhere from about 1/2 inch to 2, 3, even close to 4 inches of rain in spots. So it has been a very soggy 24 hours here in northern Michigan, but we are going to clear out. Today is the last full day of spring. Tomorrow, Friday the 20th, we actually start summer at 10:42 in the evening. Yeah, it's a little wonky, but that means today is the last full day of spring. We've done it. We've made it to summer. Well, we're close. But we are going to be looking at things to do during summer break. Yes, the kids are out of school. You might be seeing them at home with a little bit more energy, not a whole lot to do. So I'm dedicating this episode and tomorrow's episode to things you can do with the kids for STEAM and STEM projects. So first up, we are going to show you CO2 and how to extinguish flames. So we're going to take you into an experiment to show you how CO2, that gas, actually extinguishes flames. And how you can set that up and how you can do that experiment, that will be coming up first. And then after that, I will be showing you how to blow up balloons without using your mouth, but also how the density between CO2 and oxygen differ. This is a really fun experiment that you can do with the kids and explain the science behind it with them. And then at the end, meteorologist Haley Fischetti will show you how you can make a cloud and rain and show it all in a jar. So we'll have all that coming up on the show today for some STEAM, STEM, fun experiments that you can do at home while on summer break. And then maybe you can take them to school to show your friends and teachers when you get back to school in the fall. But that's a ways away. Let's start thinking summer break. All right, first up, let's do this day in weather history, because this is actually a really cool this day in weather history. So back in June 19th, 1835, there was a tornado in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Not a huge deal there, but this tornado was actually the biggest tornado for New Jersey, as it created 5 deaths in New Brunswick. But this was also the first time that a tornado was studied. This was the first tornado that scientists went out and actually looked at the path and started adding things up and how this develops. So this was the first one that was studied because it was so populated in Philadelphia, New Jersey, so those areas in and around New Jersey, and this was the first time that they had had a tornado there that everybody could witness and saw the path. So that allowed them to tell scientists where it was, which in return allowed the scientists to look at the scarred earth, maybe not scarred earth, what happened here, what happened there, and that's where they started putting science to paper when it came to tornadoes. So this day back in weather history, 1835, was the first time they started studying tornadoes. Pretty cool. All right, yesterday, trivia time. We asked you true or false, heat waves can make metal bend. It's actually true. When you get a heat wave that is so hot and so prolonged, or for a long period of time, it can actually make metal bend. Pretty wild. Today, we want to know, breeze and gale are common terms used to describe the speed of what? Is it rain, cars, wind, or sunshine? QR code right there. Hit it. That'll take you where you can answer, and we'll have the answer for you on tomorrow's episode of Beyond the Forecast. Now, viewer photo of the day. This one sent in to us from Sharon Libick. And this is always brought to you by Great Rooms, and Sharon has shared with us an amazing picture of a sunset over Mullet Lake. Absolutely gorgeous picture. Thank you, Sharon, so much for sending that in and sharing it with us. It's a beautiful lake, gorgeous sunset, making for a stunning photo. And thank you, Great Rooms, for sponsoring that segment. All right, let's get the STEAM STEM project started, shall we? Coming up, I'm going to take you into how to make your own fire extinguisher, kind of, sort of. But really, it represents how CO2 can kill a fire. We'll have all that coming up right after the break.
And welcome back everyone to Beyond the Forecast. Now today we are going to be doing a little fun experiment to show you the fire triangle. Now the fire triangle is quite simply the three ingredients that make fire burn. You need oxygen, you need heat, and you need fuel. Now if you were to take one of those things away, fire won't work. So when you have that triangle, think of like a fire extinguisher. A fire extinguisher is trying to get rid of one of those pillars to extinguish the fire. And fire extinguishers, there's about several different types. There's powder, there's water, there's CO2, and all of those things will do certain things to a fire to get rid of one of those pillars. Well, today we're going to run you through a fun little experiment, which does include fire. So kids, if you want to do this, make sure your parents are involved in running the experiment. But we're going to show you an experiment that basically shows you taking away one of those pillars to erase fire. So what you'll need is a candle, preferably one of these little candles like this that you can sit on top. You'll need a glass bowl or a glass, which the candle can go in. And then you'll also need some baking soda. You'll also need some vinegar. And you'll also need something to sit the candle on. So I have a little bit of clay here that will sit in the glass and the candle can sit on it. So this will go inside the glass, like so. And then you will put baking soda around the clay piece or the centerpiece that you have the candle sitting on. Now what you really want to do is have enough baking soda in there that will take up probably about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom to the top. You don't want it over the centerpiece. You don't want the baking soda too high. You want it right around about 1/4 of an inch. Now you also want a glass dish that is going to be above the flame, and we'll explain why here shortly. So there you go. All right. So let's spread that around. I might have too much, but we'll figure it out. All right. So we got a little bit of baking soda in there, and you can see it's surrounding our little clay piece. Not above it, but around it. And when we put that down, we'll show you that on the close-up. What you're going to need now is the candle. And you want to set fire to your candle. So it is burning. And you want to make sure you can set it safely inside the glass so you can see it burning. Now, remember we were talking about fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers are looking to take away that one pillar or maybe two pillars so fire will come to an end. So you have oxygen, you have heat, and you have fuel. Those three things combined create fire. Think of it like chemistry. Those things combine to create an element, and that element is fire. But an extinguisher, if you take one of those pillars away, fire goes out. So what we're doing here is we have baking soda surrounding our candle. Now, you want to take some vinegar, and you might want to take a glass if you have a big jug like me, so you can start pouring it around the edges. And you'll see what happens. We'll have it on close-up right here, and then we'll also show you from there. But what's pretty crazy is we're going to take away one of those pillars with just some vinegar and baking soda, not touching the candle. We'll show you. All right, so we'll pour some vinegar in this glass. Everybody always loves it at work when I use vinegar. So if you've ever used vinegar and baking soda before, you know there is a chemical reaction. That's how you make a volcano. It starts to erupt. So what's going to happen when I put in this vinegar into the baking soda? Well, let's find out, shall we? Did you see that? The flame was extinguished. Now, why is that? What does baking soda and vinegar give off? CO2. So it's robbing the candle of oxygen, one of the main pillars of the fire triangle. So what you did was you created a chemical reaction with vinegar and baking soda, creating CO2, which started to rise in the glass. And as the CO2 got above the flame ran out of oxygen and went out. So there you go. Now, you want to try to prove me wrong? Just take some, or you can also do this too. Show you just the difference. You see that? There's still some CO2 and the flame can't keep going. See that? So there's still some CO2 in the glass. Now what you can do is do it again, put more baking soda in there, and then light another candle and put water in there. What do you think will happen then? Is it going to extinguish the flame or is it not? Well, it's not going to extinguish the flame because water and baking soda do not have a chemical reaction. It is not giving anything off. So vinegar and baking soda gives off that CO2. If you were to try to use a different substance, you'd have to pour it right on, especially water. You'd have to pour it right on the flame, extinguishing another pillar to the fire triangle. So there you go. Pretty cool little experiment that you can do, creating your own little fire extinguisher. So that's what fire extinguishers do. They take away that pillar trying to put out the fire. So today we created CO2, which took away the oxygen for fire to continue to burn. Pretty cool. A little fun experiment for you. Again, kids, if you want to try this at home, you can, but make sure your parents are involved. Make sure they are there with the fire, the baking soda, and the vinegar, because sometimes baking soda and vinegar can get a little out of hand. But it is really cool to see the science working. So there you go. I'm Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens for Beyond the Forecast. We'll have much more right after the break. And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Beyond the Forecast, our little STEAM STEM projects that we do here. This one involves balloons, baking soda, and vinegar. Now, some of the experiments that we've had here the last few times have involved baking soda and vinegar, and we showed it how it creates CO2 and can become a fire suppressant and takes away the oxygen so fire cannot survive. And you can use it to create volcanoes where you put in a little red food coloring, vinegar, and baking soda, and it looks like lava overflowing in a volcano. But today we're going to show you a really cool thing that you can do with vinegar in a water bottle or pop bottle, some baking soda, which you put inside a balloon, and then just a normal balloon. And so this is kind of special for the end. This is a light colored balloon because this one's going to be lighter, and we'll explain why at the end. This one, grab a funnel from the kitchen. I'm sure mom and dad might have a funnel for cooking that you put inside the balloon. Put the baking soda inside of it. And then this is not water, this is vinegar. So put vinegar in a water bottle or a pop bottle, something that you can see through because there is going to be that chemical reaction that gives off CO2, but it's going to blow up our balloon for us. So let's get this started. Take the top off our vinegar. And what we need to do is we need to attach the balloon to the top of the water bottle. So without spilling vinegar everywhere, and everyone at work loves it when I use vinegar. It just makes the halls smell great. There's a lot of sarcasm in that. But once we get that on securely, our balloon is now on top of our water bottle. Vinegar is sitting down below. Now, we've seen before in the past experiments that baking soda and vinegar produces CO2, creates that bubbling, that overflow effect. But if we take away the one spot where CO2 could escape, what's it going to do? Well, baking soda into the vinegar, the gas rises, nowhere for the gas to go except in the balloon. It should blow up our balloon. Let's see if this works, shall we? Lift up the balloon. Oh gosh. Whew. That was a very powerful one. The last time I did this, it wasn't nearly as powerful. But there you go. All that gas rose up into the balloon and blew up our balloon for us. And then you can remove the balloon, pinch it off, and remove it. So there you go. Our balloon is full of CO2. Now, it doesn't mean the balloon will float, but it is full of a pretty dense gas. So there you go. Now, take the other balloon and blow it up yourself. There you go. In this balloon, this is full of oxygen, but also a little bit of CO2. This comes from our lungs. So our lungs expire different than vinegar and baking soda. Vinegar and baking soda is just straight CO2. There's nothing but CO2 gas inside this balloon. In this one, our lungs create different percentages. So there's a little bit of oxygen, there's a little bit of CO2, and it's lighter. So full CO2 is heavier, whereas this is a little bit more buoyant. So more dense gas, less dense gas. We drop this at the same time, the blue one should hit the ground first. See that? CO2 is more dense than what we expire. Even though there is a little bit of CO2 in what we expire, this full CO2, far less CO2, blue falls faster. So there you go. Gases, not all equal by any means. So CO2 heavy, oxygen, a little bit of CO2, a little bit of everything else from your lungs, much lighter. CO2, much heavier, generated by vinegar and baking soda. So if you want to blow up a balloon, you don't have to do it yourself. Let vinegar and baking soda do it. But it is going to be a little bit heavier. And you can actually feel the difference too. There is a little bit more weight to the blue balloon. So there you go. Fun little experiment to try and do at home. Make sure that parents are helping you out, kids, if you want to try this out. But again, just a bottle of vinegar, fill up a little bit of baking soda in a balloon, make sure it's on top of the water bottle securely, let it go, and you'll see the balloon start to inflate with the gas that vinegar and baking soda set off. So there you go, a little fun, a little science, a little weather. We'll be right back with more Beyond the Forecast right after the break.
Welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. It's meteorologist Haley Fischetti, and today I'm going to show you a quick and easy experiment. We are going to make clouds and rain. All you're going to need is a few things. It's really easy and simple. You're going to need some shaving cream, food coloring, and a glass. It's best to have a glass that is completely see-through, and with that you're going to fill that up with water just about halfway. First, you're going to take the shaving cream and put it in the glass. Do just a light layer of shaving cream on top of the water. You'll notice that it will sit on top of the water, covering it nicely, kind of acting like a cloud. When you look up in the sky and you see a blanket of clouds across your area, that's kind of what this is showing. When normally we see rain clouds, they kind of look gray, and that's because all the moisture in the atmosphere, raindrops getting together and getting really heavy on the clouds. That's how rain starts to develop. So then you'll grab your food coloring, and this will act like the moisture in the atmosphere. And all you're going to do is put in some droplets, putting it right on top of the shaving cream. This will start to sink down on your water. It's going to act like rain. You can start to see all of that food coloring dropping beneath the shaving cream, and that's showing rain going underneath into the surface, hitting the atmosphere. Now what's happening is the food coloring is really heavy, heavier than the shaving cream. And when it's heavy, it's gonna fall right through and come out on the other side into the water. But we'll have more experiments and more information over on Beyond the Forecast.
Thanks, Haley. And hopefully you got a little bit out of our STEAM STEM episode for today, but don't worry, we'll have more STEAM and STEM episodes that you can join in on tomorrow. And if you want more information on these products, go ahead, email us, message us, find a way to get in touch with us, and we will give you everything you need for these projects if we didn't mention them in the presentation of them right here on the show. Because I know a lot of people have actually reached out and said, how do we do this? Well, we'll either explain it or we'll have that somewhere where you can find it. And if you can't find it, just email us or call us or message us and we'll get you all of that information. So tomorrow, we will have more of the STEAM and STEM projects for you that we've done so far on Beyond the Forecast. And later this summer, we'll have another episode or a few episodes of new STEAM and STEM projects that you can do with the kids. So for meteorologist John Gross, meteorologist Haley Fischetti, I am Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens. Thank you so much for joining us and doing these experiments with us. We appreciate it. We'll do the same tomorrow at 4:30 right here on Beyond the Forecast. Be good, stay safe, take care. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye everybody.